Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the preview for the 2025 United States Grand Prix, a race I really do tend to look forward to every year and on a track I think is a little bit underrated by some, as I think I say every year now. Is it the greatest circuit ever built? Probably not, no. But is it one that tends to throw up some pretty good racing? Yeah, generally speaking. So hopefully we get plenty of action again this time around. Oh, and before we jump into the preview proper, stick around until a bit later in the video because I have some important channel news to share. Intriguing. But anyway, last time out F1 was in Singapore, where George Russell came away with a surprise win. I don't think that's controversial to say. But now it is on to the 5.513 kilometre, that is 3.42 mile, 20 corner circuit of the Americas for round 19 of the season. Not long left in this one now. This weekend, there will be 2 DRS zones in use to help drivers get some overtaking done. The first one runs down much of that super long straight between turns 11 and 12, and the second zone runs down the start-finish straight, both of them, by the way, having their own detection points, and they crop up just before turns 11 and 19, respectively. Now, in theory, this should be an easier track to pass on than Marina Bay was 2 weeks ago, but this is F1, and so that doesn't mean it will be easy. The best spots to get a move done, though, are turn 1, especially if a driver has DRS, and turn 12 as well, thanks to that long run and zone that comes before it, and arguably that is the best outright spot. But as we've seen in the past, it at least lets cars get side by side, and those battles do tend to continue through turns 13, 14 and 15. Since its debut on the calendar in 2012, the Circuit of the Americas has hosted 12 F1 races, with Lewis Hamilton taking the record for the most wins around the track with 5, the Brit actually taking a total of 6 US Grand Prix wins thanks to his victory at Indianapolis in 2007. And did you know that there have actually been 6 different winners at this track over the years? They are Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, Kimi Raikkonen, Valtteri Bottas, Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. And Hamilton also holds the record for the most pole positions at the circuit with 3. And what is great, absolutely incredible about those 2 stats, oh yes, we're doing this, is that 6 is the total number of dry tyres in the whole Pirelli range, and 3 is the number of dry tyre compounds available across a race weekend. Oh yes, that's right folks, it is a double segue into tyre talk time. So the compounds available for this one then are the hard C1, the medium C3 and the soft C4. No, that is not a mistake. We really are skipping a compound this weekend to try and spice up strategy just a little bit. The tyre loads in Austin are evenly balanced across the front and rear axles and are more lateral than vertical due to the high-speed corners and the rapid direction changes around the track. When it comes to degradation, though, it is generally thermal and is therefore obviously linked to the ambient temperature, which, although it can fluctuate quite a bit day to day in Austin, they do still tend to be quite high at this time of the year. It is also worth a reminder that the bumps, as we discussed in the Singapore weekend streams, should be less of a concern than they have been in the past, as the track was partially resurfaced last year. On the subject of last year, the winning strategy was a one-stopper with race winner Charles Leclerc starting on the mediums before pitting on lap 26 for a set of the hard tyres, which he ran all the way to the end of the race. In fact, all but 4 drivers stopped just the once in 2024, and Esteban Ocon was the only one to use the softest compound as he pitted late on to try and go for the fastest lap, which he grabbed on lap 53. When it comes to this weekend's possible strategies and how the compound jump could impact things, I am actually going to read this directly from the Pirelli preview because I found it interesting. Maybe you won't, but I'm going to share it anyway. The increased performance difference between the hardest compound and the middle one should theoretically give rise to 2 scenarios. If drivers prefer the C1, then they could run a one-stop race combining it with the C3. On the other hand, using the latter along with the C4 would produce quicker lap times, but almost certainly would require 2 stops. I don't think it's massively controversial to suggest that teams will target a C1, C3 one-stop strategy, but it is really good to know going into the race weekend that a multi-stop race isn't just viable, but also possible. I think this could be a very interesting one. The safety car might offer up the opportunity for someone to try something different with strategy as well, and it has made a few appearances around COTA with 8 races in total featuring at least one full or virtual safety car period. And of course, the weather is potentially another variable as well, but as I sit here and record this on Wednesday afternoon, rain doesn't look like it'll be a factor, with the weekend set to be very warm and sunny, with a slim chance of some rain around midday on Friday and Saturday. But the latest forecast as of Thursday morning is on screen for you to have a look at now, so it may well have changed. And your schedule for this one is different to a normal weekend due to the fact it is a sprint event. So that means that FP1 will kick the weekend off as always on Friday, and that is from 6:30 p.m. BST, with sprint qualifying starting later that same evening at 10:30 p.m. The sprint race gets Saturday's F1 action started at 6 p.m, and that is followed by Grand Prix qualifying a few hours later from 10 p.m, and it will be lights out for the race on Sunday at 8 p.m, and once again that is in UK time. Now, before I make my usual round of, let's be honest, awful predictions, let's have a quick run through a few stories that have been doing the rounds since the race in Singapore, and one brief piece of channel news as well. First up, do you remember how we've all been asking for F1 to be less focused on improving TV direction and on the on-track action in favour of more off-track entertainment? No, me neither. Well, once again, F1 is delivering something nobody asked for, apart from the sports accountants anyway. From this weekend's US Grand Prix, the pre-race build-up will feature a pre-race opening show courtesy of American Express and will be called Grid Gigs. The concept is designed to keep fans at the track entertained, although it will not feature every event. A similar pre-race spectacle is planned for the Las Vegas Grand Prix, though. Now, according to Formula One management, the concept will offer a unique blend of music and motorsport and was inspired by the F1 75 live season opener at the O2. And in Austin specifically, country music artist Drake Milligan will perform on the grid as cars begin to leave their garages for their reconnaissance laps to the grid. This isn't a totally unique idea, of course, because just 2 weeks ago in Singapore, Spice Girl turned DJ Mel C entertained the crowd with a short set on the grid, and live music has become more commonplace, though the latest deal adds commercial backing to the concept. F1 seemingly determined to monetize every corner of the sport. How long until we get pre-race driver comfort breaks sponsored by Andrex? I will say quickly that I appreciate that this is targeted at fans at the circuit, but you can bet your backside it'll become a pre-race televised thing at some point, if not immediately. But let's see how it looks on Sunday. We might all love it. After all, F1 fans are notoriously very accepting when it comes to change. That's not a dig, I'm as guilty as anybody, but moving on, and Haas will be sporting a tweet delivery for their home race this weekend. The Circuit of the Americas traditionally prime special livery territory for the team, and that remains the case this year as they unveiled a design which celebrates their American roots. The livery will see the VF25 decked out in red, white and blue stars and stripes, a clear nod to the American flag, obviously, as well as to their heritage as well, and it's not too dissimilar to the liveries they've run at the last two races in Austin. And to be honest, much like those paint jobs, it looks alright, but it might be a case of blink and you'll miss it. Worth noting as well that team boss Ao Komatsu has confirmed Haas will be bringing a small upgrade package to the event and highlighted how vital it will be for the team to hit the ground running in order to evaluate it due to the fact there is just the one practice session this weekend. I should say as well, I suspect Racing Bulls are up to something, so they may have a special livery too. There's nothing at time of recording, but they've been teasing some stuff on social media, so keep an eye out for that and any other team that might sport some sort of different paint job. And finally for this news section is that channel news I keep teasing you about. Basically, I am on the move, sort of. As I'll explain in more detail in these streams over the weekend and perhaps in a dedicated video, I've set up a brand new second channel where I'll be giving my honest, unfiltered opinions on F1, plus analysis and reaction to the latest Formula One news and gossip, as well as, of course, some live streams. If you would like to join me over there and become part of the new community, then you can click the link in the description of this preview to subscribe, ready for new content, which will start to be uploaded very soon. However, if you don't want to join me over there, that is absolutely fine, because don't worry, I'll still be uploading content to the F1 Word, including the usual race weekend previews and most, but not all, of the watch-alongs for the remainder of this season. And yes, as it stands, I'll still be uploading here next year too. I'm not going anywhere for the foreseeable future. There's been a little bit of a change in the relationship between me and Planet Sport and Planet F1. The second channel is just something a little bit extra for me. There's nothing to worry about at this stage. Right then, time to make some predictions, and as always, please do not take these too seriously. They're just a little bit of fun, but if you do disagree with my picks, which you probably should, then you can let me know yours in the comment section down below. And last time, well, awful again, of course. But I will say, although I only picked up 2 half points for a grand total of 1, it is still 1 more than I got for my entire lot of Baku predictions, so onwards and upwards, or as is more likely, this is probably my peak for the rest of the season. Anyway, this week it's tricky again given Red Bull's resurgence at the hands of Max Verstappen at least, as well as the surprise performance from Mercedes in Singapore. Plus, you've got the added variable of it being a sprint weekend, which can mix things up quite a bit. Max Verstappen has taken pole and the win at the last 2 sprints in Austin and has a very strong record in sprints overall. So I am going to go with, based on that form, what seems like a safe bet on paper and say Max takes P1 in both sprint qualifying and the sprint race itself. But as I'm sure you don't need reminding, races aren't run on paper, so that could still easily be way off come the end of the weekend. For the rest of the event, I'll hedge my bets a little bit and give that to McLaren, with Lando Norris taking pole and Oscar Piastri the win. That said, if he does have the pace to win the sprint, it's probably mad to rule Verstappen out of winning it all across the weekend, but like I say, I'm hedging my bets. But I will put Max on the podium, but with a heavy caveat that George Russell will be in the mix too and could make top 3, but 4 into 3 doesn't go, so I can only pick 3. So I'll go with Piastri P1, let's say Verstappen P2, and then Norris on the final step on the podium. Behind the leaders, I'm going to go again with Williams as the 5th best finishing team on Sunday. I was tempted by Aston Martin because, Fernando Alonso, but I'll stick with Williams. As for some separate, bolder picks, I'll say Franco Colapinto for points, the prediction I'm making every week until he does it. And I'm also going to say double points for Williams on Sunday, and let's go with a top 3 finish in the sprint for Kimi Antonelli, and a top 5 finish on Sunday for him as well. It would be great to see him carry on his current run of form. That is it for the US Grand Prix preview then, but don't forget you can let me know your thoughts and your predictions ahead of the weekend in the comments section down below. Now, I will be back with some more content soon, but in the meantime, if you did enjoy this one, then please do leave a like, as it really does help the channel in its never-ending fight with the YouTube algorithm. And consider subscribing to the F1 Word and to my new second channel, again, link in the description so you don't miss any future videos or streams. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.